should we be anxious to get to heaven? By anxious, I don't mean nervous. I mean, should we be in a hurry? Should we be desiring it today? That's the kind of thing I'm going for today. And the reason is, in a recent Bible class I had, I said this. I said, the older I get, the more I welcome the doors of heaven being open for me, meaning that I'm ready to go. Yes, I'm 72. And I stand by that statement, at least to a point, to a degree. But then who am I to say when I've run my course? And who am I to say when I've completed the journey that the Lord has for me? That morning when I was teaching that Bible class, my 20-year-old grandson was in the room, and I'm not sure that he feels exactly the same way. Matter of fact, I'm sure he doesn't feel exactly the same way. He didn't say anything, though. He was kind in that respect. After all, he's just getting started in life. There's lots of things that he wants to do, like having a career, marriage, children, lots of those things that are really bring joy to life. So young people, when we talk about getting anxious to go to heaven and we can't wait till we get there, I sometimes think that the younger the people are, the less they can relate to that. Unless, of course, they were living in really horrible conditions. Then they would probably adapt to that much easier. Never forget the purpose assigned to us by God and penned by the Apostle Paul. He said this in Romans 8:29. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, in order that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. God has being conformed to the image of Jesus as a very high priority in the life of the believer. And just spending time in this life and on this earth and in this mode plays a big part in our becoming like Christ. I like to think of what Paul wrote in Romans 8:29 as you look at a potter shaping the clay. We're going to be conformed to the image of Christ. Now, as is suggested by the picture, this can be a dirty, messy process at times because we're not always a cooperative lump of clay, and sometimes God has to squeeze and pressure and shape and mold us. And if clay could talk, clay would probably scream ouch now and then as the potter molds the clay into what the potter wants it to be. So I think that image there on the screen, the clay is kind of messy and dirty, it's valid. So the next time I start down the road of, Lord, please take me home soon, I better stop and assess if I have more to do to become like Jesus. And of course I have a smiley face after that note because yes, I do have lots more to do to become like Jesus. You see, I could be 20 or 120 and still have miles and miles to go as God fully conforms me to the likeness of his Son. No matter how comfortable or uncomfortable any of us may be in our journey, we should honor the gift of each day and use it for the Lord. Yes, think about that. Every day is a gift from God. How are we going to use it for him? Here's some conclusions. We don't actually get a vote as to when we go to heaven. But if you would get a say, hypothetically, would you rather escape life and go to heaven today if you aren't ready? Or would you really prefer to slug it out day to day and do some more growing and wait until God calls you home? It's a rhetorical question, yes. You'd want the latter for sure. Secondly, I, for one, will be weighing my words in the future on this subject because I would prefer to avoid being thought of as fool. Why would I wish my life away if it's not God's time? And lastly, let us all be on board with the will of God for our lives, even the length of our lives, so that when we face him, we will be confident we did not short-circuit the molding and shaping process of God, whereby he wants us to become just like his Son, Jesus. If you like my channel, if you like this content, please like it, share it. If you're willing, please subscribe to the channel. It'll cost you nothing, and it'll help us get the word out. Thank you.